Boker Tov, today's Daf is Daf Tzadik Zayin, Rav Mציעא, as we learn Prachenu Kol B'Yisrael Shalom Soon Batzar V'Shivya. We're continuing the discussion of Shoel B'Balim. When you borrow something and the owner, the Mashiel, the one who's lending you the item, is also in your employ at the time that you borrowed it. So who gave the Shoel Davlim Mechabre? A man, a Shoel, a borrower, borrowed a bucket from the Mashiel, from the owner. Itbar, the bucket broke. Now, what have we learned? That a shoel is chayiv on all accidents unless it's meisa machmas malacha, couldn't handle the load. It wasn't capable, it was broken, it wasn't a good item, it wasn't an item that can withstand the purpose for which it was borrowed. It came for a papa. Obviously, the mashiel wanted to get paid, the shoel didn't want to pay. Amalei, where papa said, Aisi sadi to lo shanas pay. Again, bring proof that you have not altered its use, in other words, they used it in the normal way, and therefore it was meisa machmas malacha. If then you'll become potter. Okay. In other words, he told them that maybe you're a potter if you used it in the normal way. If you abused it, and as if you couldn't handle the work, then you didn't abuse it, and then you're potter from paying. So over here he says you have to bring proof. Michael, you asked yesterday, why wouldn't the shvuah be enough, right? Why wouldn't the shvuah be enough over here? Right. Apparently, he has to bring proof. A shvuah what? A shvuah that the shvuah is normally that it was Shomer Chinam swears that it was stolen or lost, that he wasn't posheya. The Shomer Sacher swears that it was an accident. A shoel is chayiv on accident. So what does he have to swear on? That he no. Even if he has to, even if he was posheya, if it was, he's responsible for everything unless it died because machmas malacha. So why can't he just swear that it was meisa machmas malacha, right? Why can't he just swear that? And then he's potter. The case we had yesterday also came for Rav says go bring proof that you haven't done anything normal, that you haven't abused it, and you'll be potter. Mashma that if he wouldn't have proof, a shvuah would not help, right? Even though normally a shvuah does help to get a guy off the hook, but over here, the normal responsibility is, the normal assumption is that it broke, that you're responsible. You're responsible for all accidents. Pasuk doesn't say when it comes to Shomer Chinam and it comes to Shomer Sacher, we learn out over there that you have to swear that you're off the hook. However, I'm not satisfied with this either, because we'll see later on that a shoel does have to swear. The shoel does swear in certain cases that it was meisa machmas malacha, that he wasn't posheya. So let's come back. Let's revisit this. In other words, the pasuk itself. You're right. The pasuk itself says a shomer chinam has to swear. It says v'nikav abayis el hu Elohim, which is the court. That means he comes to judge. By shomer sacher says beferish shvuas Hashem tia ben shneim shachero. And then by shoel it says v'chiyishal ishmeim re'ev nishbar beis enim. It says if the balam is not there, he has to pay. If the balam is there, he doesn't have to pay. He doesn't talk about shvuas so much, right? But we'll see there is a kind of a shvuah by shomer by a shoel. So let's come back and see if we revisit this, because I'm not satisfied that that's the only. You could just say, okay, you know why? Because the assumption is that you're chayiv on everything. Shia, so you have to pay. What do you want to say? You want to say that it was meisa machmas malacha. That's less likely, right? Of all the cases, it's less likely. But we'll see. Let's come back to this. How Gabra? Yeah, go bring proof, right? That means a shvuah wouldn't be good, right? Shvuah is not good enough. I'm saying, but we'll see later on. Let's come back to this later on, or tomorrow. And tomorrow's up, we will see that there is an inyan of a shvuah by a shoel. How Gabra? The shoel shun mechaveh. Man borrowed a cat. Now, the reason they borrowed cats was to get rid of the mice. That's usually what cats are good for, right? In this neighborhood, there's a lot of cats, but I remember I was told not enough dogs. But I was told that before, when neighbor was being built, there was a big mice problem here back, 50 years ago. So they brought the cats in. So all the mice gathered up together. They joined forces. They gathered together and they killed the cat. You see, if you have enough mice and they band together, they kill the cat. So yes, Rashi Kumarle, I got the mice. Pardon? Yeah. So the question over here was, is the shul responsible for the cat? Is that an accident? Or is that Mesa Machmas Balacha? I hired the cat. I borrowed the cat to get rid of the mice. That's what cats usually do. If he couldn't handle the mice, that's an example of Mesa Machmas Balacha. He couldn't handle the regular job that he was handling for So Rashi was sitting declaring the shah, Ki Mesa Machmas Balacha. That means that Mesa Machmas. Olo, Amalei Rav Marcha Ravashi. Mordechai said, Rashi, Hachiyam Ravi Magrin. This is what Ravi Magrin say. Mishmei the Rava said the name of Rava, saying, Gavrit Nashi Kadu, a man who is killed by women, Lodina Velodina, has no judgment and no judge, meaning he has no business being killed by women. Usually, a man can overpower women, right? So if he was killed by women, he couldn't handle himself as a man. The same thing over here. The cat couldn't handle himself. There was a problem with the cat, just like we said. There was a problem with the bucket, or there was a problem with the axe. That it wasn't up to speed. So that's Mesa Machmas Balacha, and the shoal is off the hook. Some say the story is a little bit different. Not that the cats killed the cat. Not that the cat was killed by the mice, but rather the cat ate so many mice that he died of stomach issues. Understand? He ate so many mice. Rashi says, the stomach, he became heated up from eating all the mice. The chavel umeis, he got sick. Chavel, he became hot and overheated, and he died because of that. Yes, Rashi Rashi was clear. The Shiloh came before Rashi. Who's responsible? Rashi. That's what he said. Gavra. Here he didn't say it in the name of Rava. Before we said that made the Rava. Let's see. Did the Ramam? Right. Okay. He didn't say the name of Rava, but it says Gavra the Nashi Katlu, Lodina V'Lodina. A man killed by women. Here it means he killed by women because he slept with too many women and he was exhausted. He died from exhaustion. Nashi Katlu, Lodina V'Lodina. In other words, he did it himself. It was the man killed himself, basically, the same way a man couldn't handle himself with women one way or another. The cat couldn't handle himself. The cat basically, that's called Mesa Machmas Balacha, and the shoal is off the hook. Amarava. So over here, it was clear, guess what happened? The cat was killed, right? The cat was killed by the mice. One way or another, the cat was killed by the mice, or he died because of the mice. But there's no question what happened over here. I guess in the case of the pail, the bucket, or in the case of the axe, they weren't really sure what happened. Maybe you abused it. Over here, the cat, you didn't abuse the cat. The cat did it to himself effectively, and that's called Mesa Machmas Balacha. The lifter. You want to be smart, Alec? What have we learned? That if you borrowed something and the owner of the item was in your service at the time that you borrowed it, right, you're off the hook, right? In Bolavimo Yoshan. So I'll tell you what, you want to borrow something and make sure that you won't be responsible at all. The lifter wants to be put in case something happens to it, even an accident. Namely, should say, Ashken Maya, can you give me a drink of water, please, before I take it from you? You come by to borrow your axe or to borrow your shovel. Can I have a drink of water? And as I take it, so you're in my employ, you're in my service, you're doing something for me at the time of borrowing it. And borrowing it while you're in my service, and I'll be off the hook. But if the owner is smart, what he'll say, his name, I should say, listen, Shol Beresha, should be a Reish, mine has it as a dollar. Shol Beresha, I'll tell you what, first here's the shovel. After you take the shovel, you borrowed it. Now I will give you a cup of water. So at the time that you borrowed it, you're not in my service. Then I'll give you a drink. Amarava. Mikri Dardaki. Now these are people who are employed in the city normally. The school teacher, Mikri Dardak, the one who teaches them how to read Torah. Shasla, the gardener. Tapcha, the butcher. All these are things, people in your neighborhood, right, who work for you. Umna, a cupper. In those days, it was very common to draw blood. That people would let their blood, or Sapar Masa, or the town barber. All these kula be'idin at the time when they were doing work for you. If they're doing work for you, you've hired this guy to cut your hair, or draw your blood, or do your garden, or teach your kids, or chef for you. While he's working for you, you borrow something from him, and you're off the hook if something happens to his she'el b'balam. Amalei Rabbanan l'Rava. The rabbi said to Rava, you know what? You are in our service because you have to teach us Torah. Shoelon mar. You are in our service. We borrow anything from you. You teach us all day Torah, right? You have a shiur all day. If we borrow anything from you, we're off the hook, even if there's an accident, because you are in our service. But he got upset by that. Amrlu, he said, Lafkui Mamonika, what are you trying to fool me and take my stuff and not be responsible for it? You're trying to lose my money? Adarabba, Atun Sholton Li, the other way around. You are in my service. Why? I can teach you whatever I want. If I want to, let's say I like to learn now Masechta Eruvin because I forget it a lot. So I want to refresh my memory. I'd say, you know what, today we're learning Eruvin. Tomorrow we're learning Psachim. I could decide whatever I want. So you are in my, I need an audience. I need somebody to teach it to. Interesting that he says, you are in my service. Because I could switch from Masechta Secha. You can't switch me. You can't tell me what to learn. You're going to learn whatever I teach you. So it's just the opposite. I'm not in your service. I can do whatever I want. You are in my service. So the Gemara ends off Eloi, but it's not exactly like that. He's not correct either. Iu shalu b'yamid in the days when they get together for what they call Yarche Kala, that means, Rashi says, we're talking about before Pesach and before Sukkot, when you have to learn the Inyana Diyoma, the laws of the law. So he can't switch topics. He's got to teach them 30 days before Pesach, 30 days before Sukkot. He's got to teach them those laws. He can't switch. So therefore, he is in their service. So technically, if they borrowed something from Rava during those days and an accident befell that item, they're off the hook. Inu she'ilulei b'shar yomi. But the other days of the year, then they're really in his service because he could teach them whatever he wants. But the interesting thing to me here is that it's not the teacher who is in the service only of the students are in his service. Now you might say, what are they doing for him? The answer is he needs the students to teach. Just like the students need to be taught, the teacher needs somebody to talk to. He needs an audience, right? So basically, they are in his service. That's what he's arguing. They are in his service. Now, would they say halachically if something was borrowed, maybe would they go that far? Apparently is. The service does not have to be paid, or he said before, shoel, right? I borrow your shovel, and at the same time, I borrow you to help me with the shovel or whatever. So it's the same thing could be there too. It's an interesting thing about Shelba. Mereimar Bar Chanina, story. This was his name, Mereimar Chanina. Ogre Kurnaisa Bechazoi. He lent out his mule, Bechazoi, in that place. He lent out his mule for schlepping. Nafik the Duratuna Badai. He went out apparently to help them load it, to help them load the mule as they borrowed it. Pashuba. Now they were poshea. They were negligent with the animal. Makes the animal died. Now, us they came for Rava. The owner, Mereimar, wanted to get paid, and they said, no, it's Sheila Babalim. When we rented it, you were helping us, so you were working for us. Chayvinu. Rava said you have to pay. Rava told the people, the borrowers, they had to pay. Amalei Rabban Rava, so the Rava said to Rava, what do you mean? Pshia Babalimi. They were Poshea, but we learned before that even Pshia Babalim is also, we came out the halacha, it's a machlokas, right? The Pshia said Pshia Babalim, and Pshia Babalim is also off the hook. So why should they have to pay? Ichsib, Rava was embarrassed. They like as if they come to the sofa. At the end, you have this many places in Shas that the posei apparently made a mistake, but then it turned out that he was right. Siyata Deshmaya. Ichsib, he was embarrassed. Later on, it turned out that Lameser Tunuhu did nothing. He went out there not to help them load, but simply to observe them to make sure that they did not overload the mule. So he wasn't really working for them. He wasn't helping them load the animal. Lameser here, Farshim saying Meser is like Shiur, to do a survey, to check it out, to walk around. You do a Shiur of the area. He went to survey the area to make sure that they were not abusing the mule. So he wasn't really working for them. That's fine if you hold Pshia Babalim is off the hook, like we said before, some machlokas. If that's why he was embarrassed. If you say that Pshia Babalim is chayev, even if he was working in their employ, but they were poshea, and Pshia Babalim, according to that mandomer, is chayev. So why was he embarrassed? When he passed him that they're chayev to pay, he was right anyway, even if it was Babalim. The answer is lo mifshapshu. They'll learn the story. The one who says that Pshia Babalim is chayev will say, the one who says here that Pshia Babalim is chayev to pay, will learn that this wasn't the case of Pshia. Low mishapash, but it wasn't a case where the borrowers were negligent. Ela ignav was certainly stolen. It was stolen for them. Umeisa kadarka beganov, and then it died over there. So over here, the problem was that they are shoalim, they are shalom, and it was stolen while it was in the employ apparently of the owner. And if that would be the case, Geneva Babalim is potter. So why was he mechayim? That's why he was embarrassed. When he said you have to pay, Geneva Babalim is off the hook according to everybody. So he was embarrassed because he said they have to pay. But Sophic Milsa, later on it turned out that the Lamesa Tunu nothing, that it wasn't Babalim at all, because the owner did not go out to help him. He was not in their service at the time that they borrowed it, but rather he just went out to make sure, to check to make sure that they didn't overload the animal. Therefore, it wasn't Babalim at all. And therefore, what happened over here? He lent them the item. They borrowed it from him. They're responsible for accidents, pshia, geneva, everything. And therefore, it's not a problem no matter what happened over here, whether they're pshia, whether it was stolen, whether it was an accident, they have to pay. The only way they wouldn't have to pay is if it was Mesa Machmas Balacha, and that wasn't the issue over here. So he said you have to pay. Now again, if they could bring proof, right? If they could bring proof, going back to what we said before, just that he's going to swear, it's probably unlikely. But we're going to see there is a case where Shoel also has to swear. So we'll talk about that. But it's in a regular case, something happened to the animal's dead. You want to say the unlikely thing. What's more likely? The most likely thing is that you were negligent, or it was stolen, or it was lost, or some accident befell it. So you're chayiv in all cases, right? That's what we say. Shoel, since it's mostly his anah, he has to pay. Oh, you want to say the unlikely thing that it couldn't handle the job, that it was Mesa Machmas Balacha. So for that, apparently you have to bring proof. We'll talk about it more. Says the Mishnah, famous Mishnah. Hashoel para, Hashoel is a para, you borrowed a para. Shoel chatzim chatzim says, I'll tell you what, you can borrow for half a day, but I'm not going to give it to you free for the whole day. So in the morning, you can borrow it. In the afternoon, you can keep it all day, but in the afternoon, you have to pay for half a day's renting. Okay, half a day. Or listen, okay, on Sunday, it's considered borrowed. On a Monday, you're a socher. You're renting it. Now, what's the difference? That a socher is potter on accidents, right? On accidents. The animal died, had a heart attack, whatever. Socher is potter, shol is chayiv. Or socher, let's say there were two animals. Now, remember there's two because we're going to talk about 3 and 4 also, right? Let's say there were two animals. He rented one and he borrowed the other. Umesa, the animal died. Now, what's going on? In the last case, when there were two animals, they looked alike. It's hard to tell cows apart. So Amashil Omer Shula Mesa, the owner said, well, the one that you borrowed died, so you're chayiv for the accident. The animal died, you're chayiv to pay. Shula Mesa, or that, right? Shula Mesa. Of course, what is so the owner says, you owe me, because the one that died, I lent you two. I lent you one and I rented you the other. You said it was an accident. Well, you know which one died? The one that you borrowed, so you have to pay. Or biyom shaisa shula mesa, in a case where it was one animal and it was either he lent it to him on Sunday and rented to him on Monday. So he says, you know what? It died on Sunday, the day that you borrowed it. You have to pay. Or if it was a half a day, half a day borrowing, half a day socher, b'shah shaisa shula mesa. In other words, the owner's saying you have to pay. You have to pay. If there were two animals, right, that one was borrowed and one was rented, you know what? The borrowed one died, so you owe me. Or if it was one animal, it was a half a day or alternate days, he's saying, you know what? The one that you borrowed died, or at the time that you borrowed it died, and you owe me because it was an accident. You have to pay. So we're going to talk about that. Now, here's an issue. Now, the question is, you're right. If they're both arguing and they're both fighting about it, the halacha would be, if he says, listen, let's say it was alternate days, right? And you say, you're the owner, you say he died on the day that I borrowed it, I have to pay. And I say, no, I know it died on Monday, on the day that I rented it. I'm also right, you're right, that would be the halacha. But we don't have that case in our mission here. We'll see. We're going to come to it. It's Bar B'Shem. Over here, The guy says, I don't know. The renter, the borrower, the renter slash borrower says, I don't know. The owner says, I know for sure it died. The one that was borrowed died, or the time that was borrowed died. The other guy said, I don't know. So what do we say? Bari b'shem bari yadav, like Rashi tells us. The Gemara is going to say that. Okay, we're going to talk about this first case. Now, the next case is, let's say the other guy's borrowed. The borrower, or the borrower slash renter. So because I know that it was the one that I borrowed. Of the two, the one that died was the one that I rented rather. And therefore, if I rented it, I am not responsible for accidents. I know for sure. Now, of course, don't we say that a socher has to swear, right? He has to swear that it was an accident? Yeah, but we're not even going to get there. He doesn't have to get to that stage. Why? Ha-socher meschur mesa, or b'yom shais meschur mesa, or if it was one animal and it was alternate days, it died while it was being rented, or mesa, b'shashais meschur mesa, if it was one day, and I said, the morning you're borrowing, in the afternoon you're renting, in the afternoon when it was rented, that's when it died. The owner says, I don't know. You're putter again, bari b'shem bari yada. He doesn't even have to swear because I say I know for sure. You don't know, right? If the owner says I know for sure you owe me, and the other guy says I don't know, so bari b'shem bari yada. Okay, that's the simple case. We're going to talk more. It's not so simple anymore, but let's see. Bari b'shem bari yada. Not talking about any shvua. Not talking about motzi mechabeil varaya, where there's a fight about it, right? The socher said, or if the borrower says, I'm sure and you're not sure, so he's off the hook. Okay, here's a fight. Well, let's say this guy says it was borrowed, and this guy says it was rented. Yishba socher sheschura mesa. He has to swear. He has to swear. What does he have to swear? He has to swear that he's off the piece of swear that it was a rental, because that's what the pasuk says. The pasuk says that if you borrowed something, you have to swear that you want to be off the hook. You want to swear that it was an accident, so you have to swear. Okay, but why does he have to swear over here in this case? L'chora, we'll see why he swears that it was a schura mesa. The normal shvua is what? If I rented something and it died, I have to swear that it wasn't stolen or lost, but it wasn't. That's the normal shvua over here. Here it's a different shvua. Here he's swearing that the one that died was the schura. In other words, they're not arguing about what happened to the animal. The animal had a heart attack and died, right? They brought in a vet. He looked over here. The animal had a heart attack, right? Or the animal, some accident befell the animal, was hit by a car. So they're not arguing about that. They're arguing about which animal it was. So the Gemara is going to say, and tomorrow's Gemara, the Gemara is going to say, why does he have to swear? Why does he have to swear then? Why does he have to swear? He says shula mesa, schura mesa, right? So why don't you say, hamotzi mechaveru olav haraya? Why don't you say that? Or what's bichlal? Why does he have to swear at all? The chora, it's not motive and mixas. The Gemara is going to come out that why he has to swear, because even if it was a chora, he has to swear that it was an accident, that it wasn't good. So then once he has to swear that, Gilgul Shvur makes him swear in the other part too. Gemara's got to get all this. Let's say both say, we don't know what happened. We don't know which. It was one animal. I borrowed it for half a day and rented it for half a day. Or I borrowed it on Sunday and rented it on Monday. The animal died. We don't know what happened. You come out to the field, the animal died. Nobody knows when it died. So what do? So the Gemara says, Yachloku. Mishas Yachloku. Why? Because it's Mama and a Mut of a suffix. If it's a suffix, we don't know. You split it. The Gemara is going to say, like we had in Baba Kama, that's Sumchas Shita. Sumchas was the Talmud of Meir. He says, Mama of a suffix. But we paskin, like Avram said, that a Motzi Mechabel of Haraya. So therefore, if both said we don't know, he doesn't have to pay because he has to prove. You want money from me, right? You're claiming. You say maybe it was at the time that it was borrowed, but maybe it wasn't. So we said Motzi Mechabel of Haraya. What in the previous case, where each one knows for sure, the owner says, I know that it was borrowed. The other says, I know that it was schara. So he has to swear that it was schara. Why is that? We'll see, because of Gilgul Shvur. Okay. But let's go back to the first case, where the owner says, I know it was the borrowed one that died. And you say, no, it was the shola says, no, it was the other one, the one that was rented or at the time renting. So you say, Bari B'Shem or Bari Yada. Shma Mina, you see from over here, in a famous case that we had in elsewhere in Shas, we have later on. Reuben says to Shimon, you owe me $100. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I paid you back or not. I don't know. chayiv, you have to pay. Bari b'shem and bari yada. Now, if that's the case, let have to give to Rav Nachman. It's a kasha Rav Nachman that we pascha like Rav Nachman. What's the case? Ditmar, monali biyadcha. Reuben says Hashem Yomi $100. Follow me, then the guy says, I don't know. Rav Huna reviewed on Mechayev. That's Rav Huna reviewed. Our Mishnah goes apparently like Rav Huna reviewed. Money bari b'shem and bari yada. He doesn't have to swear. I know you owe me $100. You say you don't know. I got to pay. Nachman reviewed him or no potter. You're off the hook. Why? Leave the money where it is. You have most of mechavel varaya. Leave the money where it is. I don't know. Just because you think. Now we know if you're motive mixas, that's different, right? If I owe you $100. You claim that I owe you $100. Reuben says to Shimon, you owe me $100. And Shimon says, yeah, I know I owe you 25. I admit to 25. The other 75 I deny. So what's the halacha? You have to swear. Motive mixas, you have to swear in the 75 that you're denying. 25 I admit, I'll pay you that. And the 75 denying. That's the Chayv Shul Min Torah. So over here, the question over here is we're not talking about a shul apparently. He just says, Rav Huna, he says Rav Nachman says, Bari b'shema, potter. You don't have to pay. If you say I owe you $100 and I say I don't know, according to the halacha, paskin like Rav Nachman and Rav Yochanan, I don't have to pay because leave the money where it is unless you have proof. We're talking about you have proof, right? You don't have any proof. It says Bari b'shema. It says, well, leave the money where it is. If you have no proof, that's it. So it's a kash l'chora on Rav Nachman because our Mishnah says Bari b'shem bari yada. If the owner says I know that it was borrowed, and the other guy says I don't know, he has to pay. Why does he have to pay? It's Bari b'shem and bari yada. Yeah, but we don't pass it that way. We pass it like Rav Nachman, Rav Yochanan. What are Rav Nachman and Rav Yochanan do with our Mishnah? The answer is Karam Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman says elsewhere in explaining this, don't you asek shvur menayim. Not as simple as that. Our Mishnah is not talking about a simple case where there's no shvur. It's talking about there is a shvur. There's already a dispute involving a shvur. How so? In other words, he already had a swear. Meaning, the owner says, I know this was on the day that you borrowed it. And the other guy says, I don't know. So the Mishnah says you're chayiv to pay. You know why? Because he's chayiv to make a shvur anyway. Now, how is he chayiv to make a shvur anyway? I said, I don't know. Why am I chayiv to make a shvur? There's already shvur. Kid a Rabba, like Rabba explains, we're on Daf Sadik Ches now at the top. Amar Rabba, one of the biyotchot. You owe me $100. I only owe you 50. I like the case of 25 and 75 because it's clear. But anyway, we'll take the case of Mishim. I owe you 50. I owe you 50. And the other the other 50, what are you supposed to do when you're motive and mixas? You have to make a shvur that I don't owe you the 50. He said, I don't know about the other 50. You say I owe you $100. I motive to 50. So if I motive to 50, I have to make a shvur. On what? On the other 50 that I don't owe you that. But I don't know about the other 50. I'm not sure. So there the halacha is, because he can't swear. I can't swear on the 50. I got to pay it. If I'm a chuv to make a shvua and I can't take the shvua, then I have to pay. That's what he's saying over here too. Mishkachas law. So it's good. That's how he explains how Rav explains the case over there, where Rav Nachman and Rav Yochanan normally say Bari b'shema. You don't say Bari yada. I'm not sure. I don't have to pay. Leave the money where it is. If you don't have any proof, Bari b'shema doesn't do it. But if the Shem has to make a shvua, why? Because he was motive and mixas, he has to make a shvua on the other 50 that he doesn't owe it. He can't make the shvua, then he has to pay. So how is our Mishnah going to work out? Our Mishkachlo Reisha Bebeis V'Sefer Gimel. The Reisha means where it was one animal. Right? Our Mishnah says one animal borrowed it for half a day, rented for half a day, or alternate days. But our Mishnah is going to work out in that case with one animal. It's really going to be two animals. And the Sefer that talks about rented two animals is really three animals. How so? Reisha Bebeis Amalei Beis Parsum Saitel. I gave you two animals. I gave you two cows. Even though our Mishnah says to talk about one animal, we're arguing about the one animal. But the other animal he was motive to. So our Mishnah is going to talk about where there's two animals. I gave you two animals, right? Pal Gidiyoma B'Shel, Pal Gidiyoma B'Shchiris. For half a day, these two animals were on loan, half a day for rent. Or alternate days. But there was not one animal, two animals. Umeisu Tavaya, they both died Be'in Shela. The owner claims, I know they both died on Sunday, the day that they were lent to you. The Shoal says, Chada Ein Be'in Shela Mesa. I motive that one. I motive that one died on Sunday. The other one, I don't know if it died on Sunday or on Monday. I don't know. Because I can't swear, I don't know, then I have to pay it. So what he's saying is this. According, the way Rav Nachman will say is, yeah, if you know for sure that they both died on Sunday, and I say, I don't know, according to Rav Nachman, I wouldn't have to pay. Because you don't say Bar B'Shem, Bar Yadav, I'm not sure. So I don't have to pay. You leave the money where it is. You have proof, you don't have any proof. It's just your word against mine. Bar B'Shem, Bar Yadav. But if I moted that one of the two died on Sunday, so I moted, now I moted mixus, I have to swear that the other one did not die on Sunday, but I don't know. Since I don't know, I have to pay. That's how he's going to learn our Mishnah. The Sefer, what about the Sefer? The Sefer, where's the Sefer? Where it talks about that you gave you two animals, one for She'ela and one for Schiris. It's not two, it's really three. The Sefer Begimel, the Amr Gimel parcels, I gave you three animals. Beis B'She'el is one borrowed. In other words, I said, listen, if you rent one, I'll give you two more that you can borrow. You know, like a buy one, get one free. If you rent one, you get two extra ones today to work with you. So two are She'ela, one was Chiris. Umesu Hanitarti, She'ela. And the two that I lent you, they died, so you have to pay. And the Shol says, Ein, Chada the She'ela Mesa. One I know, one that was borrowed, I know died. Idach, the other She'ela, Lo Yadana, Idach She'ela Mesa, with Kaima Chiris. I don't know if the other one that died, yes, two animals died. The owner says both of the ones that were borrowed died. The Shoel says, I moted that one of the ones that was borrowed died. The other one that died, I'm not sure if that's the one that I borrowed or the one that I rented, right? I don't know, either Sheila Mesa or the Kaimah, because I don't know if the second one that died was the one that was borrowed, the second one that was borrowed, and the one that's still alive is the one that I rented. Either Schiris Mesa, or maybe the second one that died was one of Schiris, which I'm potter on because it was an accident. But a kind of Sheli. We tell Sheli that's all we learn normally way of Bar Mixas. Yeah, it's on. Rama says that the Dalit Shomer, and we don't hold that way. But the Dalit Shomer normally have to swear to absolve themselves of their responsibility. Rama learns the Psukim of Ki Huzeh that said you have to be motive mixas and denying part of it. He learns that the Shomer have to do that too. He says, not enough to be motive, that you're chayiv and motive mixas, but you also have to deny some. You're only chayiv a shvua motive mixas if you admit some and deny some, not you to say you don't know. So according to Mishkachas LaReisha Begimel the Sefer Dalet, so according to the Reisha, where they were arguing about one animal, is speaking about where he gave him three animals, and the Sefer is speaking about Dalet. How so? Just add one more. Begimel, Reisha Begimel, the Amr Gimel Parsasat, I gave you three animals. Either half a day rent and half a day borrowed, or Baskiris. Inami, or alternate days. I gave you three animals on Sunday borrowed, on Monday rented. And they all died on Sunday, let's say. They all died and said, you owe me for three animals. And the Shah said, on one of them, I denied the whole thing. There was no animal. You never gave me three. You gave me only two. So one he denies, so that's the clear. Because remember, Chama holds you have to have clear also. And when I agree to, when I motive to, so motive makes us and deny. So I don't know if it died I don't know if it died on Sunday or on Monday. Because I can't swear about it, and I have to pay. One I have to pay. So the one he denied totally, he denied. I'm denying that one outright. So he doesn't have to pay for that one. But he'd have to pay for the one that they're arguing about. They're only arguing about one. Obviously, the Mishnah is talking about they're arguing about the one, so you'd have to pay. Sefer B'Dalet, the Sefer where there was our Mishnah listed as two animals, one B'Schiris and one B'Sheila, was really four. Normally, Dal Parson, I gave you four animals. Gimel B'Sheila, three B'Sheila, Chada B'Schiris. And those when the Mishnah talks about one B'Sheila, one B'Schiris, we're talking about the ones we're arguing about, right? That there were two, one B'Sheila, one B'Schiris, but there were really three B'Sheila and one B'Schiris. The three that were B'Sheila all died according to the owner. The Amalei Shoel, and the Shoel said, we're now on Sadik Chesed base, Amalei Shoel, Chada La'adam. La'adam means L'hayit Bar Me'olam. That became a word in modern Hebrew also. La'adam, like the whole thing never existed, like denies the whole thing. Pardon? That or Ein Dubim Ve'ein Yar, right? There's no bear and there's no forest. The story, Lo Dubim Lo Yar, right? Doesn't exist. So says one so he denies one totally and he admits one totally. And the third one, I don't know if the third one that died was the schirus one, in which case I'm off the hook. The one that's still alive is the one that I borrowed, and I'm returning that to you. Oh, the shayla may, so the kind of schirus. Or maybe the shayla one died, and I'm chayiv for that, and maybe the one that's here is still alive is a schirus. So we're saying here, all these cases we're explaining that Rav Nachman and Rav Nachman Rabbi Yochanan who say that Bari B'Shema, we don't say Bari Ad. Unless you have proof. You got proof, that's a different story. You got proof, and you got a star, you got some Adam, something. That's what is a proof? A star or Adam, some sort of real proof. But in lacking a proof, you don't say Bari B'Shem Bari Ad. If we paskin, leave the money where it is. Amos Mechaber of Araya, leave the money where it is. Right. But so according to them, why does the Mishnah say that if the owner is sure and the shoel is not sure, he has to pay? Or if the shoel is sure and the owner is not sure, he's off the hook. Why do we say that Bari B'Shem Bari Ad? The answer is we're speaking about where he's really chayav b'shvua min Torah, because the case is not that simple. It's not simply you owe me and I'm not sure on the whole thing. No, you owe me and I admit to some of it, or I admit and I deny some of it. Meaning I'm chayav shvuas min mikzas, and on the one that I don't know, I can't swear. That's also as far the. Okay, so this brings us now. If you hear, you have see here, take a look at Rashi over here. Rashi in the middle of the page on Aleph. You see, so here Rashi says interesting. You see here we're in Rashi, we're halfway down the page of Rashi. Rashi says over here v'shoel lishba shemesa mimalacha. So that's what the shvua makes. What's the normal shvua that a shemachina makes? That it was stolen, right? That it was stolen, and I'm off the hook. It wasn't my pshia. The Shavuot Sucker swears that it was an accident, so he's off the hook because he's chayv and Neben Aveda. And a Shoel swears shemeisa malacha. So if that's the case, your question is good. Why did he have to bring proof? Why didn't he just swear? See, Rashi's over here. The Shoel lishba shemeisa malacha. So he says, okay, those shvuas. You don't make a shvua unless it's clear mitzvahs votive, makes then it's chayv shvua d'oraisa. But so maybe he's talking about that. But in the regular case, in a regular case, if you don't learn like this idea of that there's a shvuas manatora of motive and mixas, a regular shomer, I gave you something to watch, right? And I come here, it's not there. You say it was stolen. So the way we learn, not like Ram Bechama, who learns that the parsha is different, but he learned that you don't have to have shvus motive mixes. I said, where's the item? You're a shomer. It's not like I owe you some. I'm claiming you owe me money and you deny the whole thing. In a Torah, there's nothing. You deny the whole thing. I swear I don't have to pay you at all. Only motive mixes is right. Only mixes. Even Bari B'Shema, we paskin that Bari B'Shema. You don't say Bari Adif that I have to pay, that the Shema has to pay unless there's a shvus motive mixes. So if you don't say, but a regular shomer, he's responsible to swear. If he doesn't have the item, I come to cook. I gave you the item to watch. Either I paid you or I didn't pay you. So you have to swear without an argument of a motive mixus or not, right? The way we learned that. So what does the shoel do? Shoel has to swear unless what? He has proof. These cases indicate that he has proof that that he has to pay. So that question, right? That question still seems to hello, Mesa Mashmach. So the question is, did you have to swear the boiler in Shim? In other words, what's the shoel's responsibility? He has to. The shoel is only off the hook if he could show that it's Mesa Machmas Balacha. Either it's clearly evident, like the case of the cat, right, or not. He's got to be proof. So can he swear to that? That is the shvua good enough, as it seems from here? Or does he need proof? This question we still need to deal with a little bit more because I don't have a definite answer on that, right? Probably the Meforshim talk about it. I just didn't see it because he says, why do you have to, pay him? Vamos, we don't. There's no argue. Yeah. I'm not so sure if it's a simple thing. Apparently, in fact, you have to bring proof. We have to assume that in most cases you could assume that it was an accident, right? In most cases you could assume it was an accident, and he says, yes, you have to have proof that you didn't abuse it. And if I have no proof, then you're going to assume that he abused it. Or that's a difficult thing. Why does he borrowed an axe or something like that. He says, they'll bring proof to Lo Shana space. We have to examine this issue tomorrow, some more about Shoel. What is the responsibility of the Shoel? Clearly, Yisham Achinim just swears that he wasn't negligent. It was an accident or it was stolen. That gets him off the hook. Yisham Sacher only gets off the hook if he could swear that it was an accident. He has to swear. What does the Shoel have to do? Rashi's mashma there is to swear that it wasn't that it was Meis Machmas B'Locha. That's the only thing that's going to get him off. But is that's true? Is it up? Why did they tell him over here go bring proof? Why bring proof? That question we have to examine some more. So now the Gemara, let's just see a little bit more. So in when they thought about it, now think about this. When not a case where it was Shem. Our whole problem was Bari B'Shem and Bari Yodef. Bari B'Shem is not Bari Yodef. No, I'll tell you what. It's speaking about here. There was a Shavuos Modav Mixus Minotaur, and that's why he has to swear. What about when he says the owner says, "I know for sure it was borrowed. The borrowed one died," and the other says, "No, I know it was the rented one that died. Can't tell them apart." So he said, "Yishba Socha." He swears Shasfur Mesa. And what kind of a shvu is that? You see, if he was definitely a renter and he wants to get off the hook in a regular shomer, he swears that it was an accident. That he's supposed to do. Swear. Pasuk says, "Swear." That's what the pasuk says. Pasuk says, he has to swear that it was an accident, right? He's chayiv on pshi, he's chayiv on gnev and aveda. He swears that it was an accident. But over here, he's not swearing it was an accident. He's swearing that which one died. What kind of a shvu is that? So the Gemara says, "V'mai masher tono lohodo, masher lo tono." The guy claimed that it was borrowed, and he's saying no, it was a different one. It was schura. He claims to show. What's the shvu over here? This is not a motive b'mikzas. It's not like he's in case of motive b'mikzas. And Rashi says that the motive b'mikzas answer we gave, according to Rav Nachman, that says Bari B'Shem Allah Bari Adaf. But according to Rav Yehuda and Rav Huna, who say the Mishnah reads the way they read, Bari B'Shem Bari Adaf. Rashi says in the second line, Afakab Dukibna B'Kofer Moda, Hanimil Rav Nachman, Mi Masis Rav Huna Rav Yehuda Kedektani. But my Yishba Rei Ein Kanod Mizom B'Mikzas over here. Why does the sofer have to swear? We're not talking about that he swears that what happened. We're talking about we know the animal had a heart attack and died or was hit by a car. The question is, was he a she'ul or was he a swear? Which animal was? So he wasn't so motive mix up here. Amar Ulayide Gilgul. Yes, a swear de Gilgul shvua. What's Gilgul shvua? That once you make one shvua, you'll have to make another shvua based on the pasuk by Soda where it says V'amrisha Amen 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 shvua Amen shvua. You make her swear not only that she didn't commit adultery while she was married to her husband, she didn't commit adultery while she was engaged or while she was married to somebody else, or all the other questions that come up. Tell me in truth exactly what the kedarka is. At least you have to swear that it died as an accident, that you weren't posheya, wasn't stolen or lost. You're claiming that the one that was rented died, right? That was rented. Okay, the one that was rented died. So first swear to me, your regular shvua, that the one that was rented died by accident. So you're off the hook, right? You have to swear that you were not negligent, and it wasn't stolen or lost, in which case you would also be responsible because you rented it. A renter is like a shomer sacher, you're chayiv for that. So first you have to swear that it was an accident to get you off the hook as a socher. Once you swear that it was an accident because you were socher, now swear that the one that died is really the socher, and that's why he makes him swear. All right, we'll pick him here tomorrow when we're going to discuss the last case where each one said, I don't know. We said, if you split it, that's only according to some, that's not according to the way we paskin that a motzah b'chavero all of a riot. We have to get a little bit ahead here. We got a little bit ahead because tomorrow is Yom Yerushalayim. We daven at 6. Have a good day, everybody. Call 2.
Take care.